It's a pleasure to be here with you, Roberta, and to welcome you all to Lost in Translation.
Ciao a tutti, sono Roberta Pagliarulo e sono felicissima di essere qui oggi con la mia collega Silvia King che mi guarda.
I have no idea what you're saying.
Hi everybody, this is Roberta Pagliarulo, executive and team coach from Italy, and I'm so delighted to introduce my dear colleague and friend. Here she is.
Yes, I'm here. My name is Silvia King. I'm a positive psychology coach, and it's my pleasure to be here with Roberta to co-host our series Lost in Translation that helps us navigate cross-cultural encounters, hopefully with a bit more understanding, a bit more awareness, and a bit more success. Our guest tonight is Adnan Ali. Adnan is a social media influencer running the YouTube channel Adnan Ali Motivates and Inspires. By profession, Adnan is a sales manager in a staffing company and has lived in the UAE for 13 years. He has an MBA in marketing and a master's in statistics. And on top of that, he has worked for more than 8 years as a radio broadcaster. So we have a pro here with us today.
Wow, I feel a little bit of anxiety now.
Adnan loves to read good books, and sometimes he writes poetry, and very beautiful poetry at that. Welcome, Adnan.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Silvia and Roberta, for inviting me. And it's my pleasure and it's my honor.
It's great to have you here, and especially because you and I have been talking about coaching in the past, and there was one topic that really stuck with me, and I had been wanting to ask you about it for such a long time. So it's great we have the opportunity to discuss it now. And the topic came up when we were talking about coaches using open questions so that the coachee, the client, can develop their own answers and come up with their own solutions. And you said to me that in your culture, it could be considered rude to ask questions. Can you tell us more about that?
Sylvia, basically, like the culture, that Pakistani culture that I'm from, or Indian culture that you talk about in broader sense, we've been ruled by the British for more than 200 years. And before that, we were ruled by the kings, Maharajas, Khiljis, Mughals for centuries. So the culture over here is that when you want to get something done from someone, you just tell them, do it. Whether you're a teacher, whether you're a parent, whether you're a spouse, or even in your friend circle, yes, it's considered to be rude, because when you said, "Oh, I'm under questions," so that means either like your teacher is asking you something, either your parents are asking you something that you have not done this and you're supposed to do this. So questions are always taken as kind of a rude thing. That okay, when I've been asked questions, that means something is going wrong or something is fishy.
This is so interesting, Adnan. I was wondering what you just described. It's about any questions, or are there specific questions that may even perceived even worse?
Roberta, basically anything which is, like you're supposed to ask direct question. When you say that, for example, if I'm into sales and someone is asking me, share your sales report, or what have you done, or you went to a client and what happened to a client. So it's like whenever you're asking something which is very direct, then it can hurt someone. So maybe you can rephrase your question in such a way that it's like an indirect question, but you're asking something which you really needed, but it's not a very direct question. It can be something like that. Okay, We've done something. I believe this is the quarter end, and you've achieved a lot. So where do you think we will be by the end of this week or by the end of this month?
There is something about the directness of the question, and it sounds like it's kind of about kind of couching it a bit so that it is kind of embedded in a story more like. Am I understanding this correctly?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's correct. Yeah. But the way we've learned, like so far, is with teachers, with Sufis, with poets, with one scholar who is sitting in a majlis, like it's like a meeting, and he's sitting there, and everyone is sitting around, and he's talking about different stories of past, from the religious books, from his wisdom, from from stories, and then like people are asking questions on those stories, on concepts, on ideas. So where they get, so there, it's not like a face-to-face one-on-one coaching, but it's like a masses, like 15, 20 people, 50 people are sitting, and one person who is a wise person, he's sitting there, and they're asking general question on that topic, and then he's giving a story, and then he's giving a lesson, and then people are taking away that message and changing their belief system, or improving their lives and applying that to their life.
And it's in a way the opposite, the opposite setup. So it's the coachee asking the question and the coach giving the answers. Whereas in coaching, as we know it, Western style, it's the coach asking the questions and the coachee needs to find the answers.
So it's a mix of, when they ask question, it's like an interactive session where they're asking question, they're giving answers. So it's just like that. I don't know, like coaching is something where it's a very, as you said, it's a very defined field where you have to ask questions, don't give opinion, and let them discover from their own experiences or from their own life, or like let them find the answer within themselves rather than giving them some lead.
The congruence, where you can see the congruence among the words, the values, and the beliefs. Then you see a wise person, and not only, let's say, the professional.
Absolutely. Now you see all the top companies, they have their values. Like we have the first value, respect, integrity. But do you need to have these as values? Because I mean, it's like same that I'll go and I'll say, oh, I don't lie. Oh, I don't, I don't disrespect people. Why you need to say that? You have to practice that. It should come in your dealing with the people. For example, if you're an organization, how you're treating your employees, rather than just putting on your website and saying we do respect and integrity and all that. What's the purpose if you're not practicing it?
And it also raises the question, why do you need to put it on the website in the first place? If you live it, you don't need to put it there.
It's similarly, like if I have my own CV, I'll just put, I don't lie, I don't breach trust. Why do I have to say that? I mean, these are things which we don't have to say.
Now, one of the another issue you encounter in Western style coaching is that it focuses solely on the individual of the coachee. And a coach will talk to the coachee about, so what do you want? What can you do? So it's all about what the person does and where the person wants to go, what the person wants to be. And there is maybe not as much emphasis on the family that is an integral part for individuals in your culture, by the sounds of it. So I'm just wondering what your views are on that focus on the individual in coaching.
Well, it's a major difference right now, because East and West, when you look at East is much more we, and West is much more me. So individual and as a whole. So that would always be there, because whatever we do in East, it's all, like it always come back to to your family, like where it gets connected. If I take any decision, if I take any job, if I, like get married with a girl, it will always be at the end of the mind of the person would be how it fits in my family, how it fits in the overall picture. So if you talk about the coaching, yes, if I get a coaching from you, definitely back of my mind would be that how I will support my family better, how I will, like if I grow in terms of financially, if I grow, then how it will benefit my family at the end of the day. So yes, the back end would be always be family.
I was wondering, Adnan, because really, as we can see, culture has many facets, and it's so complicated also to manage this actual situation. For example, in your job, you meet so many people from different cultures, and there is a time that you remember as your lost in translation situation. What happened?
It's a good question, and especially when you're living in Dubai, and Dubai is a place where you have like 150 plus nationalities all together at a small place. I remember one time I had one of my Chinese friend. They visited Dubai, and I was supposed to take them to an event. Yeah, so I picked them from their hotel. We went to that seminar, and like by the time the seminar was over, I looked around for them so that I can like drop them back or whatever, and I found them, they were not there. I was like, what? I mean, for my culture, it was rude, because like when we want to take leave, when we want to say, okay, we're leaving, goodbye or bye bye, or good night, we like meet them and tell them that we're leaving and all that. But for them, it was nothing. But for maybe Chinese people, it's called like French leave, although it's like they do it in China. So yes, it was a cultural shock, but definitely when you are like here in Dubai, you need to kind of understand different aspects of culture. You need to recognize them and respect them. So that's fine. Yeah, because like when you move to a different country, different society, either you can like there are three things that you can do: either you can confront it, either you can complain about it, or either you can conform to it. So as there is a saying, when in Rome, do as Romans do. So you'll get benefit from that society. And this is what I learned, that okay, people are different, but there are certain values which are common. Being human, like there are universal things like telling a lie, integrity, respect. So you need to come on the commonalities rather than discussing about or fighting about the differences. You need to respect the differences, and this is what happened. Like when you're in the garden, you see different kind of different flowers and different trees and plants. And if you see one kind of plant, one color, it's boring, isn't it?
That's such a poetic way of describing it.
I love this metaphor.
And thank you very much, Adnan, for being our guest today and for having this really thoughtful and insightful conversation with us. I've learned a lot in talking to you and from the insights you shared. So thank you very much for your time and for being here with us today.
Thank you, Adnan.
Thank you so much, Silvia. Thank you, Roberta. Thank you so much. It was my pleasure and honor to be with you.
Thank you.
Dear listeners, we can't wait to see you again in our next Lost in Translation video with another amazing guest. I think that will be challenging because Adnan was really, it was a wonderful conversation. Like everybody, I cannot say every guest is amazing. And so see you soon. And if you like to share with us your opinions, your thoughts, please be free to do it and contact us on our website or on our mails or social media.